Welcome back to the 8:30 show. Time for a new episode. On this one, we got a couple of topics we're going to talk about. These are going to be some recap topics from the previous week. Um, yeah,
There's
let's,
a lot going on.
yeah.
There
Well,
was a lot going on.
yeah, absolutely. Not only did we get a new pope,
Yeah.
but all these other things
People getting
transpired.
arrested, stabbed, tried.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's been interesting to say the least. Let's go ahead and jump right on into it. First thing up, Chris Brown.
Yeah.
Chris Brown has been remanded in custody in the UK. Let's go to the Associated Press for more.
This is from 2023, right?
That is correct. Chris Brown was charged in England for allegedly beating music producer in London nightclub in 2023. Um,
Well,
Brown was 36, was charged with one count of causing grievous bodily harm after being arrested in a Manchester hotel. The Sun, which first reported the story, said producer Abe Dow, told him he was hospitalized after Brown beat him in the unprovoked attack at the Tape nightclub in the swanky Mayfair neighborhood in London in February 2023. He hit him with the bottle service.
oh my God.
Bottle service. Hello.
Yeah. Damn.
And Brown was on tour in the UK at that time. Um, I don't really have much to say about this other than shit. It happened in 2023, and he's just getting arrested for it in 2025.
Maybe they told him that, it's like everything. What's the word I'm looking
The
for?
statute of
Yeah.
limitations.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So he probably thought I'm good and got caught up.
yeah. I mean, it's
But why are you
unfortunate.
doing shit like that to begin with?
It's unfortunate that you know, after you done knock somebody over the head with a bottle,
Well,
allegedly, that
that
you
happened to, oh, I can't remember her name.
the brat.
The brat.
Yeah, the brat knocked somebody over the
And she
head,
was sued and they won.
and she
And
went to
she's
jail
been,
for it as well.
yeah, she's been dodging that shit.
Yeah. Um,
That's crazy.
I hope that he doesn't get much time
The
for this
laws
and
are
just
different out there. So,
yeah. I don't know what their laws are out there with an attack of grievous bodily harm, but I wish him the best. Um, I know he's had some issues in his past, but yeah, 2023.
yeah, that's
This from 2023. This
so
2
he's
years
about to
ago.
do time in the UK.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how that works out there.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we don't know the laws out there. So if they still holding the grudge, like, you
Yeah.
know, well, hopefully he can get out and, slap on the wrist and after it being so long.
Yeah.
But, people are going to be like, no, we demand justice.
I feel like this is
American.
I feel this is right. I feel that this is going to parlay into a civil suit. I
Yeah.
don't know what their civil suits are out there, but I feel like this is going to parlay into a civil suit if he's found guilty out there, and
Don't
then
do shit in other countries for real.
yeah, like and I guess this producer Abe Dow is going to get some or Dahl I can't
D-
pronunciate
It's
his name.
yeah.
Diao is going to get some papers.
Yeah, I'm saying it
Yeah,
wrong too, probably.
he going to get some papers. So yeah, that's Chris Brown for you.
We'll see
Um,
what happens. I mean,
we'll continue to monitor this and see if anything actually transpires other than
as for now, he's there.
yeah, yeah. I wonder what the UK jail system is like out there, but I'm not enough for me to find out.
I
Like,
mean,
is it like in the States? That's what I mean by that.
The laws or the prison?
The prison,
Uh,
the jail.
yeah,
Is it like the states, or is it
it's
like,
probably better out there.
you know, you never know. You see what they got going on in
Club fed, but
you see what they got going on in
their
Salvador.
style, huh?
See what they got going on in Salvador. I don't know.
Nah, but that's different.
Hey,
That's different. Okay, so the El Salvador thing, it's so funny you mentioned that. So someone in the comments, some guy got caught doing I don't know what the fuck, right?
mm-hmm.
Somebody in the comments was like, send him to El Salvador. And somebody went into the comments and was like, he's not even Salvadorian.
It don't matter.
No. But he's like, he's not even Salvadorian, and it's not about send people to back to their country. And I was like, that's not what they're saying.
Yeah.
They're saying put them in the prison in El
Seacot.
Salvador.
Seacot.
And then the person that said the comment was like, that's what I meant, And I'm just like, people.
Yeah.
Some people don't get it, but yeah, the prison out there is outrageous. Like,
have you seen that prison?
I have seen it and I've read about it, and I think it's
Look.
I think it's crazy. Hold on.
Uh-huh.
I think it's crazy. I think it's I mean, people are starting to complain about it, human whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But at the same time, the amount of innocent people that have been murdered by these men that are in this prison.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. There have been a few that have been taken and they will not let them go, and they're not supposed to be there. Right. But, yeah, the amount of people that have lost their lives over being robbed or whatever the case. I know people that have lost family members, innocent people that just live in El Salvador, are from El Salvador, and they were murdered in broad daylight in front of their kids. It was crazy. So, now people can actually go there and visit and not be in fear of their lives. And the ones that are in fear are the ones that were doing the shit, and they ain't trying to get caught.
No, absolutely.
It's Terminator right now. They're the human beings, and they're fucking out. The police out there are grabbing anyone who looks like a robot.
Yeah. Like I get why the means came to this end with that prison, but jeez,
Yeah.
it is. I mean, but it's prison. Like, it's prison.
No,
Like
absolutely.
I think I was watching a video where the warden was like, or whoever he was the guy. He's the only guy that shows his actual face. All the guards have their face covered. He was like, it's prison. They ain't supposed to be living the life. This ain't the French Riviera.
Yeah, they've chosen that path,
Yeah.
the path that they were on, and it was brutal.
Yeah.
They terrorized El Salvador for years because they kept being deported, going back and starting that shit up there, and, living off of the people and murdering the people. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. Again, like I said, I get it. I get the means to the end on that, but yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope Chris Brown figures it out with this.
Yeah.
The fact that it's so old, I know statute of limitations and
Yeah, but do they even have that?
I'm sure they do. The UK is similar to America in certain things, so I'm sure they do. What those are, I don't know.
Yeah.
What the terms of the arrangements are, I don't know. But for me, I don't even care about knowing, because if I go to the UK or go to any country, I am not breaking any laws. I don't even want to ask the local police department where directions are. I don't even want to talk to any government officials about anything that could end up having me questioned and accidentally have me locked the F up. I am not trying to be talking about Akon sending Akon messages home talking about, they got me locked up, they won't
Oh my
let
God.
me out. Nah, I'm good. I'm good on that. I'm good.
Yeah.
I go to other countries. I go to other places. I follow the guidelines and the rules and the regulations to a T. Boo, I'm scared. I've been to the DARE program. I am good.
Yeah, I'm not. I want to go home.
Yeah.
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 Good luck to him.
Yeah, good luck to him. Moving right along. Let's move along to the next, which is funny enough, jail situation. The young Tory Lanez. I don't know if you've heard the
Yes.
young Tory Lanez. He got shot up in jail.
He got shanked up.
Yeah, well, he got blasted. That's what they call it out there. I know a little bit of the prison
Well, they
vernacular.
said it right here.
Yeah.
Tory Lanez was hospitalized in critical condition Monday after an angry inmate savagely attacked him with a prison shank,
Yeah.
stabbing him over a dozen times all over his body, with the rapper suffering collapsed lungs.
What what a crazy situation. Tory's team says he was stabbed 14 times, including 7 times in his back, 4 times in his torso, twice in the back of the head, and once in the left side of his
Wow.
face. Yeah, this was a gruesome
Yeah.
attack. You get shot, it's one thing. Getting stabbed, it's a whole different, that's some medieval shit. That's, fire and brimstones. That's, Braveheart. That's William Wallace type shit. I'm good on that
It's
too.
lethal.
It's very lethal.
It's lethal.
It's up close and personal. Let's see what else they say here. Both of his lungs collapsed and Tory was placed on a breathing apparatus. I can't speak. I must have had a stroke. Though he is now breathing on his own, according to his camp. This is coming from TMZ, as people can see. Yeah, man, that's just crazy. Like,
It is crazy. It sucks, and it happens every fucking day in jail.
Yeah.
Like, from, just watch some prison shit and they'll show you.
yeah, no one's safe.
No.
No one's safe. But I would have thought that being who he is, being a celebrity, having celebrity status, what he's in for, it is some controversy behind what he's in for.
Yeah.
You would have thought they would have taken more steps to make sure that this man is a little bit more safe than what he was.
Maybe they did, and they didn't think this person would do what he did, but he did it. And the thing is, he's a fucking inmate.
Yeah.
I understand the status, but he's still in jail.
Yeah.
I mean, what more can they do? Maybe he did have that and thought dude was cool. Who knows?
Well, it was reported that Tory was attacked about 7:20 a.m. At the state corrections official, according to the state corrections officials, by another inmate at the California Correctional Institute in Tehachapi. Tory was rushed by ambulance to an offsite hospital, then airlifted to Kern Medical Hospital due to the seriousness of his condition. Tory Lanez, legal name Daystar, blah 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 blah, and this is all about Meg Thee Stallion. Which there's more stuff coming from that about Meg Thee Stallion, but I do have a clip of this press release here. Let's go to that.
Lawyers for rapper Tory Lanez update his condition after he was stabbed in prison, and they claim they have new evidence in his case that could set him free. You're watching Eyewitness News at 11:30. We're live on ABC 7, Hulu, and wherever you stream. I'm Philip Palmer.
And I'm Colleen Sullivan. Rapper Tory Lanez recovering after being stabbed 14 times in prison. Today, his legal team provided an update on his condition, but they also talked about what they say is new evidence in the case that landed him behind bars.
Eyewitness News reporter Rob Hayes is live in the newsroom and has details. Rob.
Yeah, stabbed on Monday. Today, Tory Lanez is in fair condition. His legal team taking advantage of the media's interest in the attack to make a new case for his release, saying a new witness has stepped up who can clear Lanez in that shooting case. Now, Lanez is currently serving a 10-year prison sentence in Tehachapi after shooting Megan Thee Stallion back in the feet back in 2020. Now, Lanez was jumped on Monday as representatives say he was stabbed 14 times, causing both his lungs to collapse, though he is now breathing on his own. Prison officials say his attacker was Santino Casio, a man serving.
Yeah.
Does this man look like he's well?
No, and this is why I was getting at that he should have been a little bit more protected as being a celebrity. This man is a very heinous individual, aside from the stabbing.
Yeah, but this could this be a bad picture?
Nah, B. That's him. That's how he get down. This him right here.
Mm-hmm.
A life sentence for murder, who also has a history of prison time violence. The motive for the attack is unknown.
That right there. He has shown a propensity of violence while in custody at the Correctional Institute.
So do you think it was a setup?
I don't know if it was a setup. I heard throughout the week that from conspiracy that it's a setup because of this whole Megan Thee Stallion stuff. That it's, to me, that's kind of a reach. I feel like there was a lack of security at the jail.
Yeah.
I feel like because Tory was in G-pop, so it's, I don't know, it's like, why would they allow him to just be so freely roaming with other inmates?
Okay, so here's my theory.
When he is a violent inmate.
Well, here's my theory.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What if he doesn't know who he is? What if he doesn't know who I didn't know who Tory Lanez was for a long time, and he was already out and popular and doing his thing. I didn't know who he was until I think there was some allegations, and he was talking about it, and sexual allegations towards someone else, singer. I can't remember his name, but anyway, so that's when I discovered who he was. But I didn't know his music. I didn't know anything about him. I just knew they said his name and I knew who he was. I clocked him and that was it.
Yeah.
And then the whole Megan Thee Stallion thing happened and I'm like, okay, damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So, but to say that I didn't know who he was, what if this dude didn't know who he was? To him, he might have just been a black guy, and black and brown in prison don't get along.
So I hear you on that, but on this particular matter,
yeah,
from what I'm hearing throughout the interwebs,
yeah,
take that as you may.
Yeah, I am.
That the Hispanic Latin gangs are not they're not backing this. They're saying that this dude is not what this wasn't us. This dude acted on his own. He's rolled.
I know. I'm not saying that it was the gang that said you got to shank him up and shit. I'm saying himself as an individual who saw a black guy and was like, oh yeah, it's go time.
No, I know. I hear what you're saying, but what I'm saying to what you were to what you're saying, what you initially was saying, because they don't get along in there. This wasn't something that was a coordinated thing by the Latin gangs. Granted, he could have very well have just been like, whatever black dude is here, I'm going to stab him up. And Tory was that black dude that's there. And I totally get that too. My argument is, being a violent inmate, he should not have been able to get that.
I get that
close to not Tory, but
I understand. And I get, I got wind of what you were saying.
Yeah.
I got what you put down for real. Like I really got it. I'm just throwing the other different scenarios. You keep going back to the same one. I got it. What I'm saying is it could have been that.
No,
It could have.
absolutely.
I'm not saying gang, just him as an individual. And he's a
Absolutely.
black guy. It could have just been that, or it could have been the setup. Like who knows?
Yeah.
But only the
Absolutely.
guy knows why.
But that's where I say that there was a lapse in the correctional facility security, because someone that violent should not be able to just roam freely to be able to stab people like that. I mean, granted, it's prison. They're all violent because of that for the
No,
most part.
I don't want to say they're all violent. Some people are in there for different reasons,
Absolutely.
and they have to pay that price, right? But
Absolutely, but let's keep it real. Prison in general is a violent place, and most people that go to prison you're gonna have to get down or lay down. You know what I mean? And for someone that they're reporting that has already had this level of violence associated to them, he's already serving a life sentence for murder. It just doesn't make sense to me why he would be able to walk around so freely to be able to do that. But again, I'm not in prison. I don't play those games.
I mean, how many of those questions could be asked?
Yeah.
Why did the other guy that got shanked that day get shanked?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where were they at? Like, why wasn't he taken care of? I mean, you can ask that about that all the time. Like, how did drugs get in there?
Yeah.
Some of these motherfuckers bring it in.
Yeah.
How do cell phones get in there? Sometimes they bring it in. It's just a number of things, and everything is open to possibilities.
Yeah.
So,
Moral of the story, people, don't go to prison.
but now, because this happened, somebody came forward and said there's new evidence.
Yeah. So let's get into that.
Today, the legal team for the Canadian rapper held a news conference in downtown LA saying Lanez was railroaded by then DA George Gascon, who had just survived a recall election. And they say a bodyguard for Megan Thee Stallion has come forward saying he heard her say that she fired the weapon, not Lanez.
Mr. James informed Unite the People that he was a witness to the conversation Ms. Harris had, where she stated she had the gun, she fired it 3 times. Mr. Peterson grabbed her arm and knocked it down, and the gun fired 2 more times. In essence, Mr. Peterson never shot anybody, never even touched that gun.
Now, Lanez and his legal team are asking Governor Gavin Newsom to take a look at this new information and issue a full pardon. Meanwhile, Megan Thee Stallion sought and was granted a restraining order against Lanez, saying he's been harassing her by paying bloggers to spread misinformation about her. Reporting live in the newsroom, Rob Hayes, ABC 7.
Yeah.
It just so happens all of a sudden there's new evidence. Like,
secret
I
documents.
know shit happens like that, but
Yeah.
it just so happens this dude gets stabbed, and
The
not
secret
saying
documents
that
come
it
out.
was a setup for that to happen, but it's a good excuse to use it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know.
So I always thought that Tory did get railroaded. Not to the extent of what a lot of people think.
Okay.
Or say, should I say. I felt like Tory and the best friend, Meg's best friend,
Yeah.
I've always felt that they both should have gotten it. That they both should have gotten the same charge, because, you do a crime, and say me and you do a crime, or I do a crime with you, and you don't know that I'm about to do this crime.
We getting away with it though.
You don't know that I'm about to do this crime. I run in the store, go rob the store. Hold on, come back out and tell you to go with the ski mask on with the bag full of money, and you leave. If you don't cough up the information, if we get caught, you can get conspiracy, you can get charged with the same crime.
I was on my cell phone in the car and you just jumped in. I don't
don't-
know you.
They don't care if you don't snitch, you getting hit with
No,
this
I know.
shit.
I know.
So that's why
I don't think that works for us, does it? Because we're married.
no, but I'm just using us as an example
We besties.
because we're the only two people in this room.
We besties, not married, but
Yeah.
besties.
So I felt like both of them should have gotten it, but she was granted immunity. What immunity was she granted? And what did that mean that she was getting immunity for?
Yeah, I
To
don't
keep
know.
herself out of it because she was the one and they were putting it on Tory? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what
It's
you
just
mean.
it look what would Cardi B say? It looks suspicious. It looks suspicious. It doesn't. It just this to me was never really a clean cut case. It was a lot of smudgery in there. Now I'm not saying that
Smudgery.
Tory was completely innocent, but I don't think that he was the sole person responsible
I understand.
for that event
I hear
that
you.
happened that night. And I think the other party should have gotten some of that too. But hey, that's just me. I think that would have been more of a fair call, but hey, life ain't fair.
Life is not fucking fair.
Yeah, life ain't fair.
No, it's not.
Be happy that
Yeah,
you get
be
what you
happy.
get.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it could get really worse. Really, really worse.
All right, well,
Yeah, so
get well soon, Tory Lanez.
yeah, get well soon. I hope this doesn't affect his music career.
Speedy recovery.
Yeah.
Because 14 times,
Both lungs collapsed.
goddamn.
Stabbed in the face.
I hope he survives and he isn't fucked up afterwards. Because, 2 lungs, like
Let me tell you, all them stabbings he got in the back, he was trying to escape.
both lungs.
Yeah. All them
Both-
stabbings he got in the back, I
The,
feel like he was trying
the
to.
2 only lungs he got collapsed.
Not only did you get the left one, you got the right one too.
I'm not trying to laugh at this man.
No.
Like, I'm not. It sucks.
Yeah.
14 times. God damn.
And he survived.
And
so
survived. Yeah. So, he dropping an album when he gets out.
blessings on him. As long as
Yeah.
he don't come out talking about took 14 stabs like me, like on some Tupac, I don't want to hear that. Be more
We'll see.
clever. Be more clever. But yeah, I hope for a speedy recovery. I hope
Yeah.
that he gets well soon. I hope that the new evidence maybe helps him in some shape to get out of that situation, whether it be home arrest, what is it?
House arrest.
House arrest, home arrest, house arrest or whatnot.
Same shit.
Good for him. Jail is not a prison in general. It's not a place for anyone to.
Yeah, I don't understand how people be wanting to go back. Like, they just be like, I don't give a fuck. And it's like, you just gonna be in jail with a bunch of men.
Yeah.
For what?
Or a bunch of women.
Exactly. But still.
Except for that one, did you hear about that one time where it was
At band camp?
Yeah, what's happening at band camp? No, it was a man who was identifying as a woman, and they sentenced him to a woman's facility, and I think like a few people got pregnant, including a guard.
No,
Yeah.
I did not hear that. Damn.
Yeah. And they quickly resolved that situation. Like, nah, bro, you got to go.
Wow.
But yeah, he identified as a woman, and they sent him to, they tried to do all that gender bullshit, and they sent his ass on over there, and he was not with the shits. He was with the tits.
Oh my God. What the fuck?
And
All right, come on, Chuckles.
yeah, how dare you? How dare you? All right, so what we got next? Let's roll into the next.
Oh, the Diddy trial.
The epic saga continues.
It's gonna be 8
Sean
weeks of it.
Diddy.
So 7
on.
weeks or something.
Take that.
What the fuck?
Come on, Playboy.
So the Diddy trial started finally.
Let's lube it up.
Really.
Let's lube it up.
And it's been very telling.
Yeah.
A lot of shit has been exposed.
Yeah. Yeah.
My heart goes out to Cassie for everything she went through and tolerated.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and look at it. So we're recording now. It is the beginning of week 2 for the trial. Week 1 just passed, so we're just recapping week 1 to the best of our abilities. Let's go ahead and get into this here. And this is coming from USA Today. Let me just scroll up here because I was reading. Sorry, folks. So week 1, including Cassie's emotional trial. Let's skip all this pieces here. Let's see. Very first week of drama unfolding in the lower Manhattan courthouse was marked by stunning and sordid details from arguably the trial star's witness, Combs' former girlfriend, Cassie. She got $20 million in her settlement. 20 mil. That was
If y'all didn't read it, it was horrible.
Yeah. I think we read the whole thing.
Yeah,
right?
we covered it, and it was horrible.
Yeah.
What she endured was horrendous.
Yes.
And a lot of people are, split. There's a lot of people that are split, like, oh, she stayed and the money and blah, blah, blah. And other people are like, he groomed her. That's why she stayed. He abused her.
Yeah.
And according to the court documents, anytime she tried to leave, there he was picking her back up.
So, yeah, let's get back to this real quick. It says here, the one-time R&B singer now pregnant with her 3rd child, good for her, with husband Alex Fine, described in emotional detail numerous instances of physical, sexual, and psychological abuse during her years with the mogul. Gut-wrenching were her descriptions of the freak-offs, days-long sex parties populated by drugs, alcohol. Ventura Fine eventually had sex with numerous escorts while Combs pleasured himself nearby.
Really?
Yeah, gotta get that in there. The prosecutors want the jury to view her saga as evidence that Combs is indeed guilty of sex trafficking, racketeering, for which Combs could potentially go to prison for life. Yeah, I believe the racketeering is the highest charge of them all. And that one is a life imprisonment. I think the sex trafficking, I think that falls at a maximum of 15. Then he has another one that's like 10. So he's looking at some time with his age. The defense is hoping to cast her recollections merely as sickening details in a deranged love story between 2 consenting and jealous adults. Now, I get this. That sentence, because as the week progressed and I were listening to the dailies as they were coming out, because it's federal court, you can't no filming, so I'm listening to the dailies, and the escort, he mentioned, he was before Cassie, he mentioned how she was the one that would contact him and do all this. And initially when what she stated was initially when they started as a relationship, he brought it up to her and she was willing to do it. And they continued after that. And it seems like what has been said so far is that Cassie has been the one that facilitated the arranging of the freak offs until it got to a point where she was no longer with it. And it was clearly a point where you can tell that first it was part of their relationship, and then it became something very dark and heinous. And I can see where people can get that from it.
Yeah.
Because what it seems like to me is, it seems like the prosecution is not exploring so much the racketeering and sex trafficking specifically right off the bat. What I feel like they're doing is exposing the character. And by exposing his character, they are in these examinations are showing the pattern of psychological abuse by Diddy to Cassie.
Yeah.
And so I saw like a lot of people were saying like, oh, this just seems like domestic violence. It just seems like domestic violence. And I can understand where they would see that because of how everything is playing out. But I feel like this prosecution team is, I guess, the best prosecution team that the U.S. has. And I feel like that's what they're doing, assassinating his character first.
No, of course, they got to build their case
before they really dig into it.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible, like everything it says. And I get it. You know, you were down for that shit to begin with, but at some point, it, like you said, it just got really dark. And at this point, this poor girl is just in over her head and cannot get out, you know, and she's like doing drugs and he's keeping her drugged up and he's fucking her up. And
any protest she does, it's a slap to the face.
Literally,
Yeah.
you know, and I almost feel like the reason he did it, it's, you know, they're going to say, oh, it's because he'll say maybe it's because I was on drugs and, you know, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like it was more of like, because I could.
I feel it was more like I could. I feel like, yeah, maybe drugs did play a part in it during them being high.
Yeah.
But what about when you're sober?
Yeah.
You weren't high. You weren't high every single moment.
No, it's the because I could.
Yeah.
Because I can.
And I felt like they're gonna start wrangling in the whole racketeering aspect of it with the starting with it with the dangling the carrot of fame and stardom,
Blackmailing her, telling her he's going to expose her videos, blah, 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 the freak offs. And, you know, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
You know, and especially as young as she was.
And the patterns of doing this to other people, not just saying not freak offs, but just dangling the carrot and saying, you know, if you don't do what I'm telling you, something's gonna happen to you.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know,
the passive aggressive threats.
Yeah, blackmail and threats.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the complaint from Cassie in her civil case, the man is a sick man. The man is a sick man, and in the criminal case, it's just like more detail. Yeah. It's like extra seasoning on top of it.
My thing though is that, like, how are you as a family member seeing him now after hearing this? Are you saying that she's a liar? You know, there's evidence.
Yeah.
There's proof. So how do you see him now?
Yeah.
You know, like, are you still okay? Are you still like, I'm gonna back him up 100% forever. That's my dad, or that's my cousin, my brother, my whatever.
Yeah.
You know, and like, how do you view him now as a family member?
Yeah.
Us, I'm sorry. I just think it's disgusting. And now I don't even like listening to Biggie Smalls because I got to hear this dude
in the background.
Yeah. You know, like, I don't want to hear you. And I hate that. So that sucks. He's ruined it for me.
Come to death row. Come to death row. Suge said it. You know, you don't want your CEO, your producer, all in your videos dancing. Come to death row.
It's just so horrible, you know? And of course, everybody's like, they're trying to assassinate his character, but he did it to himself. Look at the shit that he was doing. Look at what he did to this girl, you know? And yes, she played her part. She did her part, but to when did it end, really? You know what I mean? Like, where did he stop?
I don't think he did.
He didn't. She had to fucking escape.
I know what I mean by it didn't stop. I mean, I don't think it ever stopped. I think once she left, he just got another one to facilitate who was down with it.
Oh yeah,
I'm not gonna mention no names, but y'all all know who it is.
You know who it is.
They live
Please.
they over there they named after the peninsula.
But
Peninsula.
I mean, from what I've heard, she went on a podcast talking about she likes golden showers,
Hey,
and we all heard the testimony.
He likes to indulge in the showers. He also likes to, which was I found the most disgusting of all, the most heinous of all acts. How you gonna have ejaculate rubbed on your nipples as a man?
From another man.
Not even your own ejaculate.
From another man.
Gross.
Yeah,
What
that's
kind of
crazy.
crying games was he playing? Shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Male ejaculate, Diddy.
I know.
Ejaculate.
I know. Unfortunately, this poor girl, she's got to deal with that for the rest of her motherfucking life.
So you know who I feel for in this situation? When it comes to her, it's her kids. And what kind of mind fuck is this for her husband to hear these things? I'm pretty sure he already knew about it ahead of time. But Jesus Christ.
I thought I read somewhere that he's the one that helped her get out. So he knew.
Oh, I'm sure he knew. And if he didn't know, he knew eventually, but I'm just saying.
Some men will not worry about that.
No,
they
absolutely
won't. It's abuse. She was abused, and she told him her story and he was like, let's get you the fuck up out of here.
Absolutely.
He's one of those men.
I totally get it. I totally understand it. I'm not knocking him for it, but I'm just saying, it's also traumatic to hear about what your wife just went through before you met her. Mm-hmm. This wasn't something that happened when she was a child or,
I know
what I mean? She's an adult when this happens. So yeah, it's like, Jesus.
Well, it kind of says a lot about the type of man he is.
Yeah. That is true. That is true. I take no.
And some people are like, he a punk, he a bitch. No, he's a man. He's a good man.
I don't.
Because he's not judging her based on what she did with this person that violated her time and time again.
Absolutely. I don't think that he's a bad man. I don't know him to say that he's a good man. I think that what he has done by accepting her for who she is and what she was and what she became is great. You don't judge a book by the cover, even if the cover has a little layers to it. You got to read the book. You got to see the person. And I don't think Cassie did all these things with Diddy willingly for all of it. I think there was a good portion of it where it was a willing, cooperative situation before it became something dark, twisted, demented.
Sometimes you'll go to the ends of the earth for someone you love and you don't want to lose that person. And if this is what I got to do, to make them happy and keep them. And he, from testimony, he had several girlfriends while he was with her. And he was still dating his ex-wife and he was dating other people and doing things. And she stood by and had to take that because she loved him. Don't. But she loved him, and I've seen people do crazy shit over love,
I don't knock what someone does with another person who they consider their significant other, whether that's a girlfriend, fiance, or wife in their bedroom. What if they want to role play, if they want to do BDSM, if they want to do any of those, that's between them. But I don't knock somebody for that. But this went a little more far and beyond the scope of what that is, from what I've come to understand just by hearing the recaps.
And apparently a lot of people knew about this situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they knew what it was.
Well, they were all in fear because, let's be honest, Sean Combs was and probably still is somewhat very powerful in the music industry. You know, he can
Do you
make and
think he
break a
still
mirror.
is?
I think he still has favors that are probably still owed to him. You never know.
No, I know. I'm not.
You
I'm
never know.
not saying no. I'm just saying like that's interesting because I didn't think about that. You know, I didn't think about the fact that he may have some power left.
Uh,
You know, but
you,
yeah.
I
So
don't think people are gonna do it in the light. They're gonna do it in behind
no,
the shadows.
absolutely.
But
Absolutely. And we'll hear about it later on in life, you know, like, oh, so and so helped them do blah, blah, blah. And,
mhm.
you know, all his kids and yada, yada.
And it depends on what he gets initially. Once the trial is over, it depends on what he gets charged with. Because like I said, right now, the top charge is life, but then he's got a 10 and a 15 different
So sorry.
for different charges. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So even if he gets charged, if he doesn't get the full life and he gets, let's say, gets the 10 and the 15, they'll run those concurrent. So that it'll still be 15 years. He'll get out. He'll do 85%, let's just say. He'll get out and he's still rich, hopefully. I don't know how much his legal team is sucking them pockets for his freedoms. Let's say he gets out and still is rich but poor rich. He still has all those connections. People may still mess with
I
him.
just don't understand. And I probably never will.
Mm-hmm.
But to build something so big and so massive, and you yourself build yourself up to be what you are. Because this dude, like, he made music, he's been on TV
He's a mogul.
shows. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he's a mogul, but he's built himself up to this point. And everybody knows this motherfucker's name. Everybody knows who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And to ruin it over this,
Mm-hmm.
like, that's the part that I'm like, you couldn't control it. You couldn't compose yourself, and I know that people are always like, when you have that kind of money and blah, 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 and, you want to see what you can get away with and yada, yada. But for me, as a normal person, I feel maybe sometimes, I would not destroy my life over something that could take it all away.
Yeah. I think that his head got so big that he thought he was bigger than the program. And you're never bigger than a program.
Yeah.
You're never bigger than a program. I mean,
It's
what
terrible.
was Gotti? Didn't Gotti got took down by what? Tax evasion? Wasn't it John Gotti that got taken down by tax
Oh,
evasion?
dear.
Who was it?
I can't remember his name. And that was
Who
he
was
was in the 70s. Oh my God,
What
I
was the
can't
mobster's
remember.
name? They yelling at us right now.
Tax evasion.
Mobster
I know somebody's yelling the name right now.
tax evasion. Who was it? Al Capone. I had that stroke. I'm telling you, Al Capone.
Al
I mean, come
Capone.
on, look how big of a mobster he was.
John Gotti was in the 70s, I believe.
Yeah, and then
60s,
he was
70s.
John Gotti. Didn't he? He was the union guy, wasn't he?
I don't think so.
What the fuck?
I think John Gotti was a mobster. And you're talking about the guy that disappeared that no one's ever found for years.
Yeah, that's Hoffa.
Jimmy Hoffa.
Jimmy Hoffa. Yeah,
So, yeah.
mafioso.
Get your mafia shit together
Gambino
because
crime family. I gotta get it together.
I told you I've been watching that shit.
The mob done come for me for disrespect. You ain't getting our names right.
Right?
I don't need a horse head to bed.
No.
Leave me alone. But anyway,
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, still point taken, mobsters been taken down for less. They didn't get taken down by the crimes that they committed.
No.
Tax evasion. I mean, tax evasion, same thing that that Wesley Snipes got arrested for. Wesley motherfucking Snipes. Blade.
Anyway.
But back to Puppy. There's this little article here. Let's see. This is from E! News. Let's hear what they got to say about it.
For arrest on sex trafficking and racketeering charges in New York, the world was waiting to see what revelations would be made at trial regarding the music mogul. Here's everything we know about what's happened in the courtroom in the first week of the United States versus Sean Combs. As for who is on the 12-person jury that will decide the rapper's fate, the prosecution and Combs' defense team agreed to a jury of 8 men and 4 women, as well as 4 men and 2 women as alternates for the trial. In her opening statement, prosecutor Emily Johnson accused Combs of using a sprawling network of employees to carry out illegal acts, like days-long freak-offs, which were detailed in the federal indictment, according to NBC News reporters in the courtroom. She told the jury he sometimes called himself the king and expected to be treated like one to cater to all his desires. He used his companies to manipulate women, forcing them with male escorts to have sex while he watched. He and his inner circle made sure he got everything he wanted.
That's another thing right there. That's another thing. This motherfucker's been who he is for so long that everybody who would be able to talk some sense into him was not there. And I feel like a lot of people, once they get to a certain status, that's what ends up happening.
Yeah, they don't want to hear that shit.
Yeah. Especially, and when I mean a certain status, I mean a certain financial status.
No, I know.
It's like what Kanye West said in his song. You can't tell me nothing. Wait till I get my money right.
Kanye West.
Yeah.
That's a whole other fucking story. But anyway.
I like old Kanye. I don't like this brand new ass Kanye who bumped his head and now he on some old weird shit. But whatever. Back to Puffy.
Defense attorney Tenny Garagos said in her opening statement that prosecutors were trying to turn consensual sex into sex trafficking. Garagos told the court, "This case is about Sean Combs' private, personal sex life, which has nothing to do with his lawful businesses." She stated that her client was violent, took drugs, and had anger issues, and told the court there will be times during the trial when, quote, "you think he is a jerk, he is mean, but he is not charged with being mean. He is not charged with being a jerk." Garagos said the evidence is going to show you a very flawed individual, but it will not show you a racketeer, a sex trafficker, or somebody transporting for prostitution. On May 12th, Los Angeles police officer Israel Flores took the stand to testify. He was a security guard at the Intercontinental Hotel when Combs attacked his ex, Cassie Ventura, on March 5th, 2016.
The infamous hotel
Flores
video.
testified that he saw evidence of an altercation on the morning in question, and Combs offered him, quote, "a stack of money to look the other way." Under cross-examination, Flores said he 100% interpreted the gesture to be Combs trying to bribe him. Flores said on the stand that Ventura was scared, adding, "She was in the corner, hood on, covered up. I couldn't see her face. She was pretty much in the corner. On the floor was a destroyed flower vase." When Ventura left the hotel, she had a, quote, "purple eye," Flores said. Once she was gone, Flores said he and the desk manager went upstairs to remind Combs of hotel rules. Combs thought the manager was recording him on his phone and grabbed it, Flores continued. And when Combs tried to grab his phone, Flores said he pinned Combs against a wall, testifying, "We said we are not recording you," and de-escalated the situation. Prosecutors showed the surveillance footage of the attack in which Combs appears to be hitting, kicking, and dragging Ventura that was slowed down from what was published by CNN in May 2024. The defense had previously alleged that the clip was sped up, making the altercation look more...
Yeah.
Who is this motherfucker doodling all of this shit? This shit looks horrible.
That's all you get.
This is... No, I get it. But Bob Ross wasn't available.
Nah, this is Cletus Ross.
Oh my God.
Slow Cletus.
Shit.
I think it's Elizabeth Williams. I think that's who doodled.
That shit is horrendous.
They're doodling in real time. I mean, you can only do so much in real time. You ain't even got a phone to take a picture and be
People
like,
have been. I've seen it. No, this ain't it. God damn. Look at that.
That look like him.
It does look like him, but fuck.
It's an interpretation.
Man, that shit is bad. All right.
violent than it was. The jury was also shown video that Flores recorded on his cell phone when he responded to a call of a woman in distress on the 6th floor. Flores testified that he did not call police at the time because Ventura wouldn't answer questions about what happened and told him she just wanted to leave. Following Flores' testimony, Daniel Phillip, who said he was running a male stripper review during the time in question, testified that he was paid, quote, a few $1,000s to have sex with Ventura while Combs watched at Manhattan's Gramercy Hotel in...
So I heard he was in a corner with a hat on and a mask so nobody would recognize who he is. Diddy. Because he was scared that it may come out that he was what he was up to.
Yeah. Well,
Oiled
here
up,
it is.
Oiled up in a corner with some candles and a MacBook.
Here it is.
An iPhone.
2012. Phillips said that Combs wore a robe, a baseball cap, and a bandana covering his face, but he recognized him by his voice. Ventura paid him and said she would tip me when I leave, Phillip told the court. We ended up having sex, rubbed baby oil on each other for a couple of...
He was like, come on, playboy.
No.
Come on in here, playboy.
Stop it.
I got the oils, playboy.
Ew.
You like the Astro
All right,
Glide or
we're
you like
done.
the baby oil?
We're done.
Take that.
No. No, Dave. Stop. Oh my God.
And he rubbed his nipples with the oils.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Let's get back.
Minutes, Combs was sitting in a corner masturbating. Afterward, the witness continued, Ventura gave him a couple of $1,000 more. Phillips said that he was contracted multiple times over the next year to have similar encounters with Ventura and Combs at other hotels at their respective homes in New York. He said that Combs recorded him and Ventura having sex once or twice, and that sometimes Combs would intervene and have sex with Ventura while Phillip was there. In her 2023 lawsuit accusing her ex of sexual assault and physical abuse, Ventura alleged Combs forced her to have sex with male prostitutes. Phillip testified May 12th that when Ventura didn't join Combs right when he called her on one occasion, Combs threw a liquor bottle in her direction, then grabbed her by her hair and dragged her into the bedroom. Phillip testified, she was screaming, and from the next room, what I heard sounded like him slapping her. Phillip said he heard Combs say, I tell you to come here, you come here now, not later. Phillip said he was terrified and did not intervene. He further testified that he overheard what sounded like Combs assaulting Ventura on a separate occasion at the Essex House Hotel in New York. Phillip said, I heard her yelling, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Someone was being slapped around and slammed around the room, and I looked around the corner and I saw Mr. Combs walk out of the hotel altogether without clothes. He might have had a towel on. He testified Ventura came out of the room and jumped into Phillip's lap, saying, she basically tried to convince me that it's okay and I'll be okay. And I said, it is not okay and you need to get help. I tried to explain to her that she was in real danger if she stayed with him. Asked by prosecutor Maureen Comey why he didn't call the police, Phillip testified that he thought of Combs as, quote, someone with unlimited power, and chances are, even if I did go to the police, that I might still end up losing my life.
So yeah, so a lot of people felt that way with him, not just with his sex escapades, but just in general. And that's what I feel like they're going to start proving now with their testimony in week 2. Is they set the stage for the character. Now they're going to show they gave you the appetizers. Yeah. Now we're coming in with the main course. Yeah, let's get back into it.
On May 13th, Combs' ex Cassie Ventura took the stand and stated that during their on and off romance from 2007 to 2018, Combs was frequently violent towards her. She testified, yes, there were violent arguments, usually resulted in physical abuse and dragging, different things.
That shit is horrible.
Smash my head,
Look at that
knock me
shit.
over, drag me, kick me. She said that her injuries were often visible, adding, I would get knots on my forehead, black eyes, red eyes, bruises all over my body. Ventura told prosecutors that during the first year of her decade-long relationship with Combs, he proposed the introduction of voyeurism into their sexual relationship. It first began with her hiring an escort and setting up so that she could perform for Combs, who would watch her with another person. Eventually, she said, orchestrating sex performances Combs called freak-offs, which could last anywhere from 36 hours to 4 days, became a job for her. She testified, I had the contacts to set it up in the hotel room and all of that. At the beginning, Sean set it up. Ventura said that her stomach churned when he first proposed the experience, explaining, "I didn't have a concept of how that would be a turn-on, but I accepted the responsibility. I was confused, nervous, but also loved him very much and wanted to make him happy. It wasn't something that I wanted to be doing, especially as regularly as it became." She admitted, "At some point I felt like I didn't have much of a choice." Ventura testified that Combs directed her and other freak-off participants to cover themselves in baby oil. She said in court, Sean wanted it heated and he wanted it to be glistening, so we applied every 5 minutes. During one such freak-off at the Montage Beverly Hills, Ventura said Combs asked her to get into an inflatable pool filled with baby oil while she was wearing clothes. She didn't want to.
This motherfucker love him some baby oil.
Obsessed with that shit.
I hope he's a shareholder of Johnson & Johnson.
For real.
But if it was something Combs wanted to happen, that's what was going to happen, she continued. We used 10 bottles of baby oil, regular size. In a particularly graphic moment.
What the fuck is regular size? Is it this? Let's see. Hold on.
Timer.
Hold on. What is regular size baby oil? How many ounces is that? Baby oil.
12 ounces, 10 ounces.
Regular size. Let's see. I hit it with the says. 20 fluid ounces. How big is that? Because,
All right. Just down arrow.
Leave me alone. Oh, it's this one. It's this Mama Jamma. All right, let's get back into it.
Ventura testified that after a freak-off, there would be baby oil all over the hotel room. And if Combs had instructed someone to urinate on her, there might be urine on the sheets. And if she was menstruating at the time, Ventura said, there could be blood on the sheets and furniture as well. Ventura said being urinated on made her feel humiliated. She told the court, "It was disgusting. It was too much. I choked. I didn't want to be doing that. I was in a position I couldn't easily get out of." Asked by prosecutor Emily Johnson why she didn't refuse Combs' directions in these cases, she replied, "I thought that it was obvious that I didn't want to do it." Ventura testified that she drank alcohol and took ecstasy when she first had sex with an escort in front of Combs. And to make it through the freak-offs, she would take marijuana, ketamine, mushrooms, whatever was the drug of choice at that point. Regarding the Intercontinental Hotel attack caught on video, the singer testified May 13th that Combs went after her because he was mad she walked out of a freak-off. "I chose to leave," Ventura told the court. "I got out and Sean followed me into the hallway and grabbed me, shoved me to the ground, kicked me, and dragged me back to the room and took my stuff." She hadn't wanted to participate, but she had a movie premiere a couple of days later and wanted to placate Combs, she said. "If I pleased him with a freak-off, then my premiere would run smoothly." Ventura stated the attack left her with a black eye and said,
"That right there, that's gonna prove something."
"At this point, all I could think about was getting out of there safely. I had my premiere and I didn't want to mess it up." Once he pushed her to the ground in the hallway, Ventura said, she stayed down because she didn't want him to do any more damage than he had already done. On her second day of testimony,
crazy.
May 14th, Ventura said that Combs threw a vase at her before physically assaulting her at the hotel. She said of the vase, "I just remember it coming towards me. It hit the wall. I didn't get hit. He was yelling at me. He threw it at me. I don't remember exactly his words. I'm sure he was calling me something other than my name." However, she said that Combs told her that I wasn't going to leave him, that I couldn't. Shortly after the hotel attack, Ventura said she had to attend the premiere of her film The Perfect Match with bruises on her face and body alongside Combs. Along with having to apply heavy makeup to cover up her black eye and fat lip, she added, "I had several bruises on my legs, so I changed my outfit." She testified the freak-offs left her with urinary tract infections, mouth sores, and stomach issues. Ventura told the court, "When we were having frequent freak-offs, they were back-to-back, and sometimes I would do a freak-off with the infection. I tried to flush it out with water. It got to the point where the antibiotic Cipro didn't work anymore. It was a mess." She continued, "It was really painful for a long time. I can't believe I actually dealt with that." Ventura testified that toward the end of 2011, she broke up with rapper Kid Cudi, whose real name is Scott Mescudi, and said Combs threatened Scott's car would be blown up. She told the court, "Too much danger, too much uncertainty of what could happen if we continued to see each other. Sean said he was going to hurt the both of us." Ventura testified that after having dinner out at a Malibu restaurant with Combs in 2018, he took her back to her apartment and sexually assaulted her. She said that she was already in a relationship at that time with Alex Fine, whom she married in 2019. She told the court, "I went inside. He came in and raped me on the living room floor. I just remember crying and saying no, but it was very fast. His eyes were black. He wasn't himself. It was like somebody taking something from you." Combs' attorneys have maintained that he did not engage in non-consensual sex and that those who have accused him of sex crimes consented to whatever sexual activity they participated in. Ventura testified that she accepted a $20 million settlement from Combs after filing a lawsuit against him in November 2023, alleging he sexually assaulted and physically abused her over the course of their relationship. Ventura testified May 15th that her ex had filmed the sexual performances to use as blackmail against her. She said he told her that he was going to release them and put her career in jeopardy. He would mention them when he was upset about something. It was just a pretty common thing, Ventura said. "I feared for my career. I feared for my family. Just embarrassing, all of it. It's horrible and disgusting. No one should do that to anyone." During her testimony, the singer alleged that Combs was often under the influence of drugs. Ventura said per NBC News, "He needed to recover. I would say he was an addict." And when defense attorneys asked if Combs would become angry or volatile while going through withdrawals, she agreed, stating, "I'm not a doctor. Coming off of certain pills, he would be pretty irritated." Danity Kane alum Don Richard, who began working with Sean Diddy Combs while competing on his show Making the Band in 2004, took the stand after Cassie wrapped her testimony May 16th. Richard joined Combs' group Diddy Dirty Money after Danity Kane disbanded. While on the stand, she told jurors that she saw Combs hit Ventura with a skillet full of eggs at his Los Angeles home in 2009.
Yeah.
Richard testified per NBC News. He came downstairs asking where his phone was, and he threw her to the ground. He attempted to kick her. She fell to the ground and went into the fetal position, literally trying to hide her head. In addition to striking Ventura with the skillet, Richard said Combs put his arm around the singer's neck and took her upstairs before she heard glass breaking. Richard added, "I was scared for her. I was scared to do anything." Judge Subramanian told jurors that he believes the trial will possibly conclude by July 4th. He said,
Yeah. That is the Diddler. A real life Gotham City supervillain.
Wow.
Real life.
Yeah.
So,
It's hearing that is just despicable, and it's horrible, and I can't imagine what she went through, what they're going through. She has to relive that shit again. I can't imagine, and I can't imagine what his children are going through.
yeah.
His family, not just his children, his family as a mother, it's just fucked up all the way around.
Yeah. Well,
And honestly, I feel like he's at fault for creating that whole thing.
yeah. I guess
But, yeah.
we'll keep an eye out on this. And
Yeah,
see
because
how
it's ongoing.
developing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other things to add for this?
Peace.
Peace.